So I want to thank the Chamber, and I want to thank members of the business community and leaders in education and all sectors of not only Oxnard but Ventura County. It's my privilege as mayor of the city of Oxnard to discuss this afternoon exciting and very innovative advances that the city of Oxnard has made in the direction of business. And many of you, how many of you have attended a State of the City address before? Raise your hand. So in the past, what you've seen is my attempt to focus more and more on what is relevant in terms of the state of the city to the business community. And we're poised today, I think, at no other time since I've served, to expand and grow businesses. So that's really good news to start off with. So many of you know that recently, not just Oxnard, but cities all throughout the state of California were forced into having districts. In other words, instead of electing members of the city council at large, so you vote for a list of candidates and they represent the whole city, now the city has been broken up into 6 districts, and then the mayor is the only position left that's elected at large. And so here we have the existing leadership, of course, and our 2 newly elected members of the city council are below, Gabriela Basua and also Vianney Lopez. And they've been an outstanding addition to the city council. I was a little bit worried because formally we had a reputation of having very long meetings that would go on sometimes until midnight, if you can imagine that. That was with 5 members of the city council. Imagine what it would be like with 7. But with a little bit more organization and the efforts of our current city manager, who I'll get into, we're doing a great job. We have a new city manager, Alex Nguyen. That's why it's sold out. So, ladies and gentlemen, Alex Nguyen, I want to introduce him. Alex comes from the city of Riverside most recently, but he has experience that spans the state of California. And I will say tersely that to summarize who he is as a person is he's not just a take charge person, he's a person that is obsessed with getting things done. So all of you are in business, and we all know that in business, to make money, right, you have to move the ball forward. This man, I have never seen a person before in government, in any kind of public sector position that, and it reminds me actually of my dad. It's like, no nonsense, let's get the job done. So ladies and gentlemen, we have an excellent city manager. We're really in good hands. We'll be talking about him more later, but let's give him another round of applause, if we could, please. One of the things that Alex has done, his focus since he became city manager in July of this past year, is putting together a team of, really it's like a cabinet of advisors, and these are all the department heads. And because of the challenges that the city of Oxnard has had financially, and we're by no means the only city in the state that faces these challenges, but because of these challenges, he set a goal to recruit the very best people to put into our finance position. And we have 2 people, ladies and gentlemen, a new CFO and a new assistant CFO, Kevin Riper and Donna Ventura. And I'm just going to tell you right now, without going into all their credentials, they are absolutely dynamite. And just yesterday, I consult with my parents all the time, and they said, you know what, he's the first chief financial officer I've ever heard that can speak clearly to people that didn't study finance so that they understand what's going on. So we want to congratulate them, and I don't know if Kevin's here or Donna, they're probably busy working as we speak. And this is the total team. Now, one of the things I just realized, because the city clerk, Michelle Ascension's here. Where's Michelle? Stand up, Michelle. Where is she? There's Michelle. Let's give her a round of applause. And I don't know if the city treasurer is here, Phil Molina. Is Phil Molina here? Okay. They're part of this executive team. They're not included on this, at least on the slide. So I wanted to acknowledge Michelle. She's done some great things since being elected as the city clerk, and so has the city treasurer. But this is what I call, ladies and gentlemen, the dream team. And the way Alex talks about it all the time is that, you know, if you're going to win a world championship, if you're going to move the ball forward, you got to have a team of highly skilled and competent people. And part of the problem that the city of Oxnard has had over the last decade is going through, Alex, how many different people in upper management? Was it 36? 46 people in these positions, and what time period, Alex? 10 years. So out of the last 10 years, 46 people have occupied these positions. And so he has recruited this team to lead the city and to manage the city. And as you know, in the vast majority of cities in the state of California, the mayor and the city council, we have a city manager, city council form of government. So the city manager manages the day-to-day affairs of the city, and this team executes the city manager's direction, and the council provides the city manager's direction. So we have an outstanding team, and I'm very, very proud of them, and I won't go into all the individual introductions, but they're very, very dynamic people, and we're hoping that they're going to be with the city of Oxnard, including Alex, for a long time. In the past, I've discussed specifics about the city's finances. So rather than you leave here with a bunch of facts and figures, I want you to have the big picture in mind. And I don't ride motorcycles. My mom wouldn't allow me to ride motorcycles. In fact, I got on the back of a motorcycle once. Well, I think I did a little bit more than that. But I got on the back of a motorcycle once, and she saw me, and I was placed on restriction for a month. So I decided to choose a motorcycle because I knew my mom would be here. And so what is it about Oxnard and our finances? Is the city in trouble? Is the city financially stable? Are we making decisions now that are going to lead us to a fiscally sustainable future? And the answer is yes. And that started, in essence, 5 years ago. We hired Greg Nyhoff, many of you know, the previous city manager. In 3 years, he laid the groundwork for Alex. So Greg got us to begin to turn the corner. He made some very difficult decisions. And ladies and gentlemen, I've never tried to shy away from this. He made decisions that were so tough, and he took on so much and had opened up so many different fronts at once that it literally drove him out of the city. I mean, he's never going to admit that. I mean, he's not here now. He's in another city in Vallejo. But the challenges that this city faced 5 years ago were seemingly insurmountable. And that man was able to get us to begin turning. And now our current city manager, I'm confident, and I know the city council is confident, is getting us actually through that turn. This last year, we had to cut $9.2 million from our budget. We have approximately $135 million general fund budget. The general fund pays for basic services like fire, police, libraries, recreation parks, etc. So when you have to cut $9.2 million from your budget, in the past what the city did is we eliminated authorized positions. So the positions were built into the budget, but those positions were not filled, and we simply eliminated positions that had not yet been filled. Well, this year is the first year, not only since I have been elected mayor, but on the city council, that we actually are engaging in layoffs, that we're actually laying off and downsizing employees. And I will say that it's one of the most difficult things personally I've ever had to do. I mean, there's a young lady here standing in the back, Marlene, who's been with the city, I think, close to 14 years. She's one of the ones that is going to be laid off. I've worked with her for 14 years, and I've worked with the people that put this slideshow together for 14 years. It's painful to have to do that, but I want to acknowledge her. Why don't you give her a round of applause, please? So what you need to know leaving here today is that when we had our first budget hearing on Wednesday evening, it went from 6 in the evening until midnight. And that's an exception. I mean, we normally get out at 10 o'clock, 10:30, but in that first encounter where the city council was making decisions and deliberating about the budget, the city council went about 80 or 85% of the way to making the necessary cuts to place the city on a sustainable path. So what do I mean by sustainability? Sustainability means over the next 10, 20, and 30 years, long after I'm gone, long after some of you have gone on, you've retired, etc., are we making decisions today that is going to directly benefit the residents now and in the future? And that answer is yes. And I say so decisively that the city of Oxnard is taking the right steps. But had Greg Nyhoff not started this 5 years ago, and had we not hired Alex Nguyen to take over, ladies and gentlemen, this city today would be in peril. And I'm proud to announce that we are turning the corner. Thanks to many hardworking employees, thanks to the city council, and thanks to the people of Oxnard for being very patient with this current city council. So in the past, what I've talked about, and this is really the first part of my presentation this afternoon, is I've talked about attracting jobs to the city of Oxnard. And one of the first things that I encountered in my conversations with Alex is that Alex said, you know, I support, Tim, your desire to have new economy jobs, high-tech, biotech, medical research. Those are sexy sounding, they're higher paying jobs, they're clean energy jobs, everybody likes them. But he said, you know, if we don't focus on the companies that are here now, and we don't really focus our attention on their needs, then in trying to attract new employers, we could, if we're not attentive, we could lose them. And so now I have a renewed focus. Not that I've given up on new economy jobs, I'll be talking about that later, and that is, what are the existing needs of businesses in Oxnard today? And in my discussions with many leaders in the business community, including the Chamber, and Alex's discussions, we've heard time and time again that employers are not finding enough qualified employees. They're not finding employees with the skill set to be able to allow their companies to grow and to thrive. And the last thing that we want to do is lose employees or lose companies because they can't find a talented pool of employees. So for the very first time, it's unprecedented in the history of the city of Oxnard, the City of Oxnard led partnered with the Chamber and Oxnard College, and also I believe up to 32 local businesses to hold the very first job fair. There were over 400 attendees at this job fair. But that kicked off this effort. What is the city going to be able to do? Well, the city in the past had an organization called EDCO. And EDCO was a public-private partnership, and EDCO was very focused on job retention, and EDCO no longer exists today. It was not funded, and then eventually it went away. But to replace EDCO and the efforts of EDCO, we are going to have this renewed focus on the city of Oxnard partnering with the Chamber, with the Port of Hueneme, very important, with local educational institutions, and most importantly, employers, to specifically identify what types of jobs do they need and where can the city fit in as an umbrella over many organizations that are in education, that are in private business. I'll be talking about Haas Automation in a little bit about what they're doing to train workers for these jobs here in the city of Oxnard. You know, I used to live up in the Bay Area, and I came into contact with a lot of people that were in high-tech jobs. And I was impressed when I would find out that they were making over $100,000 a year. Some of them were making over $150,000 a year, but most importantly, many of them had stock options. And I thought, you know, that's what America's all about, is, you know, building wealth. It's about having an opportunity to thrive in a career and have limitless promotion, responsibilities, and or opportunities. But, you know, manufacturing in particular, and that was a real focus of EDCO. Manufacturing in particular, and many manufacturing jobs are high-paying jobs. And we can't just focus on the highest paying jobs. We can't neglect them either. We have to focus on the fact that Oxnard has a lot of challenges, and one of the reasons why we have a very challenging financial situation today is that we have many people that have not attained a high enough education, and or they don't have the training. And if they get a $15 an hour job, some companies, I mean, if you start at $15 an hour, that actually is high, considering where we just came from with the Great Recession. But starting maybe a job at $20 an hour or $18 an hour and moving up and having limitless opportunities is really where our focus is today, because our existing population, the existing population in Oxnard, okay, is largely speaking not adequately prepared and trained for new economy jobs. High-tech, biotech, medical research, and there are many other areas. But many of them have skill sets, and many of them have opportunities to get training and job training and provide the necessary employees for those companies. I just want to give you a few examples of larger employers in the area. Northrop Grumman recently located or relocated to the city of Oxnard. They brought 300 employees with them. And their specific focus is on unmanned aircraft. That's what they're doing now. Wouldn't we like to see Northrop Grumman grow from 300 to 600 to 900 to 1,200 employees? The answer is yes. Haas Automation. Haas Automation, ladies and gentlemen, has 1,300 jobs. 1,300 jobs. And many of those jobs, ladies and gentlemen, are for machinists and for a variety of skill sets. But one of the things to give specific attention to is the role that Haas Automation plays actually in job training. And they're an example for us all. So as you know, Haas Automation, why has a company that produces machines, they're called CNC, Computer Numerical Control. You use technology, high technology, to create what machinists used to have to do manually. So high tech now can do the job of what individuals used to have to do manually to create dies and lathes and all kinds of machinist tools. Well, Haas Automation has an educational center network, and it's a leader in education and industry, and it's an initiative that enables manufacturing technology educations all across the country. They provide their machinery so that these educational institutions can provide advanced training for these future machinists that can utilize this high technology that makes Haas Automation one of the most successful, and I believe it's over the $1 billion mark now, companies anywhere in North America. So how come that company hasn't gone offshore? Because they've invested here locally, they've invested in high technology, and that's how they keep their edge over, as an example, markets like China, where many of these industries have gone. So in their network of collaboration, they have over 2,200 schools across the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, if we can only begin to think about doing that here in the city of Oxnard on a much larger scale, and I'm proud to announce that together with the city council and the city manager's leadership, we will begin this fall this program where the city of Oxnard is going to try to replicate and begin to replicate what Haas Automation has done all across the nation, and that is that we're going to provide opportunities for our residents and hopefully attracting residents to Oxnard that are going to allow the businesses here now to grow. And it's not just the largest employers. I just named two. It's all of the businesses that you're in. We need to meet with you. We need to find out what your needs are, and I'm confident that that's going to lead to some very, very positive outcomes. So, as I said before, there are a lot of partnerships that exist today, so I don't want to take away from the fact that there are many institutions and private employers that are already doing job training. So it's not like the city of Oxnard is going to come in and just miraculously wave a wand and it's all going to happen. There are many institutions already engaged in this. And, you know, later I'll be ending with education. Some of you might know that I just finished a career as a high school teacher for 25 years. And education and my focus on education, especially in the context of job training, is, I think, very, very important. I just want to acknowledge, when we talk about partnerships with local industry and education, just the Oxnard Elementary School District alone most recently has formed academies at 3 of their junior high schools. Frank Junior High has a marine science and engineering program. Think about that for a second. UCSB has one of the most reputable marine science programs anywhere in the nation. All right, so right here in Oxnard, the Oxnard Elementary School District. Fremont Junior High School has an environmental science and innovative design academy. These are all academies. And finally, Haydock Junior High School has an arts and sciences. And then we go to the high school level, to the Oxnard Union High School District. They also have academies. For 5 years in my teaching career, was at Pacifica High School. They have a medical professions academy. They have a teaching academy. And so more and more 21st century learning is centered around how to make teaching relevant to jobs and the workforce. Because if you're not making those connections with kids, many would argue, it's no wonder that so many kids don't go on to higher education, because they don't see the connection between what it is that they're learning and what it is they're actually going to do. How many of you here are actually doing what you studied? Raise your hand. Raise your hand higher. You're doing. All right. All right. How many of you here are doing something that you did not study? Raise your hand. All right. It's about half and half, right? So I don't know why on that one it was like halfway up. Everybody else was full on the other one there. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the machine I was talking about, the CNC machine from Haas. It might seem like I'm just promoting Haas. No. Haas is the largest private sector employer, and Haas, ladies and gentlemen, its technical education center is something that is going to serve as a model for the city of Oxnard. And I want to thank Mr. Zerhout in particular for spending so much time and with me and to really talk to me about this program and their efforts at Haas. So in previous State of the City addresses, we've talked about the fact that many people that are connected to the development industry have had a lot of problems with developing and trying to do business in the city of Oxnard. And so when I became mayor 5 years ago, together with the city council, because every member of the city council felt the same about, they had been approached by members of the business community and they were told that there were unnecessary delays, or that our process was overly bureaucratic, or of course there's always a problem with paying fees, that the fees were too high. And so we, and one-stop shop, we all know, is not something that I created or the city council created, but it's something that tries to get people to focus on the fact that instead of going through 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 layers of bureaucracy to get something done, and at one point my former colleagues were looking to eliminate the Planning Commission as an example, just to try to streamline projects. Well, I started these efforts 5 years ago, and I would say we probably started at about the 20-yard line. And right now, with a new community development director, he's right here. We just recruited him from the city of Ventura. I love it when we get people from Ventura, ladies and gentlemen. Jeffrey Lambert, this man and our city manager, when Alex Nguyen came in, because Ashley Golden, who is now the assistant city manager, really did a lot of the heavy lifting in the beginning. She was able to make and to get focused on the industry and what it is that we needed to do to move this ball forward. And the accomplishments have been that we are focused on a faster submittal plan reviews. Some of this gets a little bit boring, but it's relevant to those of you that have to deal with the city in this regard. Developing an expedited permitting process program, expanding the small business program, and in particular, adding key personnel. But even given these reforms, this might, in some respects, say it all. So just think about it for a second, right? That's somebody, God bless her. I can't imagine how many trips it would take to take the cart and take these plans and submit these plans to the city. Then I think about the engineers and the traffic engineers and everybody that has to go through these plans. But here's what the problem was. There was a lack of certainty, and there was a lack of timelines. Timelines that are acceptable to the business community. And so Ms. Golden started this process. She hired a concierge, somebody that would expedite these permits. And now that Mr. Lambert has come in, he too is going to help us make that final turn. So we're adding staff members to this. We're subtracting staff members from some departments, and in terms of priority-based budgeting, we're adding staff members to our development services department so that we can get not only highly trained people to get the job done, but we want to give people certainty, and we want to give them timelines. We don't want a situation where they come into City Hall and they get a long list of things they have to do, and then they come in with a big smile on their face and say, I did it, I got it all done, and then they look at somebody, grim-faced person behind the counter saying, congratulations, here's your next list of 20. But those are the things that we were hearing. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've made tremendous progress. Stay tuned. We have very high expectations for Mr. Lambert, and we have very high expectations for Mr. Nguyen that they're going to complete this process, and never again are we ever going to hear from someone that Oxnard is not a business-friendly city, that it's not a city that you can't come to build, and we need to build in the city of Oxnard. So the next focus here, and I want to say that the city manager gave me this picture. So if you want to know a little bit about Alex, he's about getting people motivated, getting people excited. We thought that this picture would kind of summarize what it is that we're looking to do with our downtown, all right? Everybody knows that the collection is a smashing hit. It is a success story. And ladies and gentlemen, I can't take credit for that. I have to give credit to my predecessors. You know, mistakes have been made, but you've got to give credit where credit is due. And many of my predecessors who saw to it that River Park and the collection was built or would be built, all right, they deserve that credit. So the collection is a success. So our new focus is the downtown. And when it comes to economic development, ladies and gentlemen, Oxnard only has 2 major parcels left for development, for residential development. That's at Teal Club Road, but that's problematic because it's right next door to the airport. Right next door to the airport, okay? So that's problematic. And then the other parcel is in South Oxnard. I think 250 acres. Those are the only parcels that are left. The land is gone. And later we'll be talking about Sakioka Farms. What we need to do, and what is sustainable for the future, is we need to develop in the inner core of our city. And other cities are doing the same. And you know that the downtown project, again started by my predecessors, started with the downtown theater. And Ventura had a theater. I mean, Ventura, I remember, I lived in Ventura a considerable amount of time, and I remember when Ventura consisted of a bunch of dive bars and a bunch of, secondhand stores. And before you know it, there was Bombay Bar and Grill and the Japanese restaurant. And then that was like, those things were like the only 2 signs of progress, one could say. And before you know it, there was a theater, and now Ventura has a thriving downtown. You got to give credit, ladies and gentlemen, where credit's due, and I know Mr. Lambert had a lot to do with that. Our renaissance for the downtown started in 2004 when the theater opened. But what happened in 2008, everybody knows, and that stalled the downtown. But we can't just blame it on the Great Recession. We have to look at the fact that the city, especially over the last 7 years, has gone through major changes and a lot of upheaval. And cities are still recovering from the Great Recession. But now we are poised for the very first time, I'm confident, to set a goal, and the city manager has set this goal to say, I want to start, it's going to be baby steps. We're going to do 250 units downtown with a thriving, and we all know this is smart growth and smart development and everything else, retail on the bottom, and we need to go up, right? The era of single-story buildings, I'm sorry to say, for the city of Oxnard, largely speaking, is over. And I probably say that throughout all of Ventura County. From this point on, it's all going up. In previous State of the City addresses, we had the Congress for New Urbanism. They came, a group of architects, a group of developers, a group of bankers, and they came and donated their time several years ago to kind of help the city get refocused on what is it to do with the downtown. So what are those key properties? The very first property we're going to focus on is called the North Plaza, and that is the old Social Security building. And right across from that is the South Plaza, where there's a laundromat and a furniture store. In 2017 on, we sent out 2 sets of requests for proposals, bidding, open bidding, for developers to come in and bid on these properties. 2 efforts that lasted about 1.5 years. They were not successful. And as a result of it, the city manager is in the midst right now of negotiating with Madison Park. Madison Park is a reputable developer. You can look at their website to see the kinds of things they've done. Madison Park right now, we have an agreement going to the City Council on June 18th, and we are going to exclusively negotiate with them. That's after 2 different requests for proposal, open bidding processes that did not yield the right projects, the right finances, the right developer. Sackioka Farms. Many of you know that the city competed to attract the HQ2 headquarters for Amazon. And we were not successful, but ladies and gentlemen, one of the methods behind the madness was compete for it. Yes, it's a long shot, but use the opportunity to showcase the property to other prospective businesses. And in fact, we've had, out of that process, there have been some bites, but it exposed problems that originate, that come from the city. We have to modify our specific plan. We have to prepare this site so that when someone is looking at it, they're not going to have to go through 100 hurdles. It has to be certain for someone to make an investment what it's going to take to develop this property. But ladies and gentlemen, I have never given up on my thought of a world-class headquarters, and I'm hoping it will be for new economy jobs right there at Sackioka Farms. We're right near the end. We must and we are investing in technology. Oxnard has, because of something called the intelligent traffic system, something that will make traffic less problematic in the city, a network of 36.9 miles of fiber optic cable. We already have the infrastructure laid throughout the city. So when we're talking about attracting companies to Oxnard, a lot of it has to do with technology. And so we have a fiber optic master plan that's going to be presented to the council in September. Keith Brooks, who's our IT director, has led that process. Ladies and gentlemen, we're looking for great things to come out of that. And why technology? Because it's going to support businesses, residential growth, and local educational institutions. It's going to enhance the local economy while attracting new economic development opportunities. It will enhance community services with smart city applications, that's the next slide, and create a public Wi-Fi system, hopefully citywide. This is what a smart city's infrastructure looks like. Ladies and gentlemen, cities that invest today in technology are investing in infrastructure for the 21st century, for that future city. So I talked about the accomplishments of local educational institutions. Oxnard Elementary School District, Oxnard Union High School District. Many of you know that I have promoted magnet schools. Well, these academies are great, and I would say to all local educational institutions that they need to replicate what the real school district has done. Because when they founded the school, they founded the school as a science, technology, engineering, arts, and math academy. It started as an academy. And a magnet school attracts people to the city. Every one of you here should be saying, if you have children of school age, I'm going to try to find a way to move to the city of Oxnard because of the schools. I'm not going to stay away from Oxnard because of the schools. I'm coming to Oxnard because of the schools. And I think the real school district, ladies and gentlemen, has started that process, and I'm excited because there's a partnership opportunity, I hope, with the Oxnard Union High School District when they build their new school. That too should become a magnet school. We want to attract people not only in the city to go to the very best schools, but ladies and gentlemen, how can we prepare for the 21st century if we don't have the highest educational opportunities in the state? And I'm going to end there by saying I'm going to leave the most difficult job up to the city manager. He has some things to talk to you about, and we're going to start. Well, I'm going to let him say it. I want you to still be excited until, well, I want you to be excited for him too. But he has to do the difficult part. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
So first I want to thank the mayor and the city council for bringing me to Oxnard. When I interviewed for the job, they said, yeah, come to Oxnard. It's easy, it's fun, you have a great time. So indeed, I'm having a great time. I also want to recognize the person who filled my seat this time last year, Police Chief Scott Whitney. So actually, Chief, can you stand up again? Yeah. Yeah. Everyone loves the chief. All right, so I have to talk about something that's not happy, but I'm going to end with something happy. So, we can't talk about the state of the city without addressing this crisis, the homeless crisis. It pervades everything, right? It's everywhere. It impacts everyone, neighborhoods, schools, businesses. You all know this. So here are the homeless numbers for the county and the city. Now, so we have obviously about 1/3. But keep in mind that California has about 134,000 homeless people, which is 25% of the nation's homeless population. And we are on our own in the sense that all cities have to figure out how to manage these problems. There's no help coming from the feds. The state has hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars set aside to address homelessness, but it's going to take them forever to figure out how to disperse the funds. And then the paradigm that they use will put it through the counties, and then everyone will fight for it. By the time it gets to the city level, then we will all fight about where to do it. But we don't have time to wait for that, right? This crisis has been going on, and it's only getting worse. And in case you think that your area of the city is the only place where this happens, look at this map. This is our homeless count map, the heat map. So you can see the red area, or the areas of concentration, but it's everywhere. Now, I want to make it clear to everyone, this is not an Oxnard problem. It's not an Oxnard disease. We didn't cause it. We don't tolerate it. We don't like it. It's everywhere. And my big concern is if we don't manage it in time, because for Oxnard, it's still manageable. But if we don't manage it in time, we will look like these other communities in several years, because it is only getting worse throughout the state. So this is outside the Santa Ana City Hall last year. and in front of the public library in Santa Monica. And then, of course, to be fair, we have to include one of ours. Okay, so lots of reasons, lots of opinions. In the end, we still have to deal with it. Primary reasons, housing. So in Southern California, between 96 and 2016, median home prices went from 180,000 to 552. And as you can see, median household income not only stayed flat, but actually saw a mild decline. Primary problem. Now, here are my messages that people don't like. Policing does not solve homelessness, although that's all we have been doing across the state for years. And believe it or not, neither do shelters. So again, the bottom line is whatever your opinions are and whether you want to help homeless people or you don't want to help homeless people, the only way to solve homelessness is some form of housing. That's the only way. So we have to think about how we address it. Number one is addressing the impacts of the homeless, which is what everyone's been doing, which basically means you have a problem, you call the police, and they do their best to move folks away from where you are. The problem with that is they're going to move it eventually next to someone else, and then now someone else will be upset with the city. We can provide services, which is what we're starting to do, and that's at the homeless shelter, but as I said before, that won't solve the homeless problem. Or we can begin to invest in actually ending the homeless situation, and that's where we're going to have to go. We need to start, well, we need to stop doing the whack-a-mole public policy, which basically spends millions of dollars moving the problem from neighborhood to neighborhood, and we have to invest in housing. So this is a comparison of in an old model, the housing readiness model, to the new one, which is housing first. So that's where we're leading this city. So we can't do it alone. As I said at the outset, we don't have any money for this. This situation has never been the purview of local government. This has always been traditionally within the realm of the state and the county. The problem now is the crisis is in our backyard and our front yards. We have to deal with this. So here's what I need from all of you. We're going to get this program up and running, the Housing First program. But I need you to be willing, and some businesses have already made the commitment, to give a formerly homeless person a chance at a job. Of course, a job that they would be qualified for, but you've got to open your doors and be willing to do that with us. And if you're involved in property management or ownership, you've got to be willing to accept a formerly homeless tenant who's going to be getting a voucher from us. I need the business community to participate. We can't resolve this on our own. So you're going to have to be a part of this, because otherwise all you will be doing is complaining and calling the police. And that's not going to get the problem resolved. Okay, so there's the bummer news. Now, we also have an idea, which is to create an Oxnard Arts Academy. Right, so now I'm going to a downer to an upper. So why do we want to do this? Let me walk through this real quick. So I want to work with utilizing the Harmony Project model. So it is a splashing success, and it is essentially an after-school program that provides serious music instruction to low-income kids for free. Now, this isn't just exposing kids to the arts. It is providing serious instruction. Here are the basic information about them. Is they work with kids after school from kindergarten to college. Their kids are in their programs for an average of 7.6 years. And the most important thing, 98% of the kids who go through their program go to college. 98%. I'm going to play this video real quick. It's very brief, and then I'll summarize.
My name is Juan Pablo. I'm from Colombia, and I moved to LA at 4. I'm 13 years old, and I play percussion.
Harmony Project brings music into the lives of children who would otherwise not have access to it. We build community, we build healthy development of children, and ultimately we want them to stay in school and go on to college.
I like playing music because it's such a really big inspiration to me.
To express my feelings as what I love about music.
The way I can connect with my instrument and the people that I get to play with.
It makes you feel like you're changing the world step by step.
It was always something that I never thought I could be able to do. I never had stability, and the only thing that was really always there with me was my mom and my cello.
My mom really wanted me to focus on something because, like, where we live, there's a lot of bad influences.
In school, there's this small society where you get to hang out with a group of friends, but in the Harmony Project, you meet new people.
There's like many people who don't have like many opportunities, and now kids have the chance of going towards their dreams.
I really hope I get to play cello when I'm in high school, college, and middle school because I just love it so much.
My favorite thing with the Harmony Project is the teachers.
She's been with me through my whole cello journey that even I want to become a teacher, like, when I grow up.
When I graduate school, I want to be an aerospace engineer.
I want to work in the FBI.
I'm really interested in singing.
The Harmony Project is a great place where kids could inspire themselves and open their hearts to music.
We're really excited to partner with Levi's. There are so many kids in Los Angeles who deserve a chance.
Thank you to Harmony Project for opening the doors not just to me, but to other people in our community.
They've opened doors I never thought could be open.
Harmony Project has changed me completely.
And that's why I love Harmony Project because people are so helpful.
Helping them grow up and being someone and being a great person in this world.
This is such a great cause.
I love Harmony Project.
So why do we need to do this? Part of what the mayor was speaking about with success in education. And why do I believe it's crucial for economic development? So when kids are involved in sports, there's no real nexus to academic success unless the kids are at the elite player status, which very few kids are. But for some reason, when it comes to actually learning music, families make a connection, a nexus to academic success. 98% of the students who go through the Harmony Project make it to college. That's an extraordinary success rate. So it's important, and it helps us to build economic value from within the community. And the other reason that it needs to be part of our economic development strategy is because I need you all to support it. This is also something that the city can't do alone. So I'm going to come back to you all when we get this off the ground, and you're going to be asked to support the program, whether you're going to sponsor the academy itself, sponsor a student, or sponsor an instrument. So please take the time to look up on your own the Harmony Projects in LA and see how amazing it is. But it isn't just a feel-good program. It matters and it elevates the community. It helps the kids succeed at school. And one thing I always remind everyone is City Hall can't really change what happens inside the schools. Right? We can't really influence that, but we have that space, that after-school time where we can contribute, and this is the best way to do it. And that concludes my remarks. Thank you.